The day Clarissa's grandmother died, my wife spent $3,000 on shoes she'd never wear. I stood in the doorway of our Victorian home, her Victorian home now, technically, watching her tear through shopping bags like a kid on Christmas morning. Tissue paper littered the hardwood floors I'd refinished myself 2 summers ago, back when we still pretended money mattered, back when we were still a we. "Ethan, look at these." Clarissa held up a pair of crimson stilettos that probably cost more than my truck payment. Her eyes sparkled with something I hadn't seen in years: excitement. Life. Just not for me. "Beautiful," I said, "because what else do you say? Your grandmother's body isn't even cold yet?" That would have started a fight, and I was tired of fighting. "I know, right?" She didn't catch my tone. She never did anymore. "Monica says red is my color. Oh, and I ordered the Tesla, the Model X. It'll be here next week." I did the math automatically, architect's habit even though I hadn't worked as one in months. The Tesla, the shoes, the small shopping spree last Tuesday. She'd burned through 40 grand in 8 days. The inheritance was 2 million, give or take. At this rate, she'd be broke in 4 years. But that wasn't my problem anymore, was it? "That's great, Clarissa." I grabbed my jacket from the hook. "I'm heading to Mike's." "Wait." She looked up, actually looked at me for the first time that day. "You're leaving? I'm throwing a little get-together tonight. You know, to celebrate Grandma's life." Celebrate. Right. Grandma Eleanor had been 93, mean as a snake, and hadn't spoken to Clarissa in 5 years after she married me, the blue-collar nobody with no prospects. Now, Clarissa was celebrating her death with champagne and new friends who'd appeared the moment the will was read. "I'll pass," I said. "Ethan." Her voice took on that edge, the one that used to make me want to fix whatever was wrong. Now it just made me tired. This is important to me. These people are important to me. These people. Monica, the trust fund princess who'd never worked a day in her life. Sienna, the wannabe influencer with 12,000 bought followers, and whoever else had crawled out of the woodwork when they smelled money. "I'll be back late," I said, and left before she could argue. Mike's place was a converted firehouse in the old part of town, the part where people still fixed their own cars and knew their neighbors' names. He handed me a beer the moment I walked in, ex-cop instincts telling him I needed it. "That bad?" he asked. "She bought a Tesla." He whistled low. "How much has she blown through?" 40 grand, 8 days. Jesus. Mike settled into his worn leather couch, the one he'd had since the police academy. "You signed the papers yet?" The papers. The divorce papers her lawyer had drawn up, sitting in my truck in a manila envelope. She'd had them delivered to my work site. My new work site, the construction job I'd taken after my architecture firm folded. She'd had them delivered there in front of my crew because she wanted everyone to know she was done with me. "Not yet," I said. "You should. Get it over with. Move on." Move on. Like it was that simple. Like I hadn't spent 12 years building a life with someone who'd decided I wasn't worth keeping the moment she didn't need me anymore. "Yeah," I said. "Maybe." We watched the game in silence, but I wasn't seeing the screen. I was thinking about Clarissa's face when she held up those shoes, the pure joy there. She'd never looked at me like that, not even on our wedding day. My phone buzzed. A text from Mrs. Dorsey, our neighbor. "Your wife's party is getting loud. Thought you should know." I didn't respond. Let her have her party. Let her have her new life. I was done being the responsible one, the one who worried about the mortgage and the property taxes and whether we'd have enough saved for retirement. She'd made her choice. Now, she could live with it. I came home at midnight to find our house transformed. The place was packed with people I didn't know, all of them dressed like they were at a nightclub instead of a wake. Music pounded through the walls. Someone had spilled red wine on the antique rug Clarissa's grandmother had left her. The irony wasn't lost on me. Clarissa was in the center of it all, laughing too loud, drinking too much, wearing a dress that cost more than I made in a week. Monica stood beside her, phone out, recording everything for social media. Because if you don't post it, did it even happen? She saw me. For a second, just a second, something flickered in her eyes. Guilt? Shame? Then it was gone, replaced by defiance. She walked over, unsteady in her new shoes. Ethan, you came back. I live here, I said. For now. She smiled, and it wasn't kind. Monica, come here. I want you to meet my soon-to-be ex-husband. Monica sauntered over, all fake sympathy and real satisfaction. Oh, Ethan, I'm so sorry about everything, but you know, sometimes people just grow apart. Sometimes people grow up, I said. Sometimes they don't. Clarissa's face flushed. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Enjoy your party. I headed upstairs, but her voice followed me. I'm serving you the papers tomorrow, officially. I wanted to do it tonight in front of everyone, but Monica said that would be tacky. I stopped on the stairs, turned around, looked at my wife, my soon-to-be ex-wife, surrounded by her new friends, her new life, her new money. She thought I'd fight, beg, make a scene. Okay, I said. I'll sign them. The look on her face, shock, confusion, maybe even disappointment, was almost worth 12 years of my life. Almost. She served me the papers the next evening at dinner. Not a private moment, not a quiet conversation. She'd invited Monica and Sienna over, made a whole production of it. The lawyer showed up at 7 sharp, handed me the envelope, and stood there like he was expecting drama. I read through them, standard stuff. She kept the house, bought with her inheritance money, so fair enough. She kept her car, her accounts. I kept my truck, my tools, my dignity. No alimony, no contest, clean break. I signed on every line. That's it? Clarissa said. She actually sounded disappointed. You're not going to fight? What would I be fighting for? I met her eyes. You made it pretty clear I'm not worth keeping. Oh, Ethan. Monica's voice dripped with false sympathy. Don't be bitter. This is better for both of you. You're probably right, I said. I stood up, handed the papers back to the lawyer. I'll be out by the end of the week. Wait. Clarissa grabbed my arm. That's it? 12 years? And that's it? You served me divorce papers at a party, I said quietly. You bought a Tesla the day your grandmother died. You've spent $40,000 in 8 days on things you don't need to impress people you don't like. What exactly did you expect me to say? Her hand dropped. I thought you'd care. I did care. Past tense. I looked at Monica, at Sienna, at the lawyer who was trying very hard to pretend he wasn't there. Good luck with your new life, Clarissa. I hope it's everything you wanted. I walked out of that house and didn't look back. 2 weeks later, I was gone. New apartment, new phone number, no social media, no forwarding address. Mike helped me move, asked if I was sure about disappearing so completely. She's got what she wants, I said. No reason for me to stick around and watch her spend it. You think she'll come looking? Why would she? She's got $2 million and a house full of friends. Mike gave me a look, the one that said he knew something I didn't. Those kinds of friends don't stick around when the money runs out. Not my problem anymore. And I meant it. Or at least, I thought I did. 3 months after I signed the papers, I ran into Mrs. Dorsey at the hardware store. She was buying light bulbs. I was buying materials for a custom bookshelf. My new side business was taking off, people paying good money for handcrafted furniture. Ethan! She grabbed my arm like we were old friends. We weren't. She was the neighborhood busybody who'd reported our parties, our lawn height, our trash can placement. But she had information, and I was curious despite myself. How are you? We haven't seen you around. I moved. How's the neighborhood? Her eyes lit up. This was what she lived for. Oh, you haven't heard? About Clarissa? I should have walked away, should have said I didn't care, didn't want to know. Instead, I said, What about her? Mrs. Dorsey leaned in, voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. She's renovated the entire house, hired some fancy designer from Portland, tore out all your work, the floors, the kitchen, everything. Must have cost a fortune. My floors. The ones I'd spent 6 months refinishing, matching the original wood grain, making them perfect. Gone. Good for her, I said. And the parties. Every weekend. Sometimes during the week. The police have been called twice. She's got all these new friends, always coming and going. Monica practically lives there now. Mrs. Dorsey paused. Are you okay? You look pale. I'm fine. I've got to go. I wasn't fine. I was angry, which was stupid. She could do whatever she wanted with that house. It was hers. I had no claim to it, no right to care. But I'd built that life. Those floors, that kitchen, the garden I'd planted, the deck I'd constructed. 12 years of work, erased in 3 months. I went home to my converted firehouse apartment. I'd found one just like Mike's, coincidentally, and tried not to think about it. Tried not to imagine strangers walking on someone else's floors in what used to be my home. 6 months after the divorce, Mike called me. You need to see this. He sent me a link, a social media profile, Clarissa's new business page. Ward Consulting, lifestyle and investment advice. I scrolled through the posts. Photos of Clarissa in designer clothes, standing in front of luxury cars, holding champagne glasses. Inspirational quotes about success and independence. And her services, for $5,000, she'd teach you how to maximize your assets and live your best life. She's charging people $5,000 for advice? I said into the phone. Keep scrolling. I did. Found a post from 2 weeks ago. Exciting news. Ward Consulting is expanding. I've secured a business loan to open our first office space. Dreams really do come true when you bet on yourself. A business loan. Against what collateral? The house was the only thing she owned outright. She mortgaged the house, Mike said, reading my mind. I've got a buddy at the bank. She took out $400,000. Ethan, she's burning through that inheritance like it's monopoly money. Not my problem, I said automatically. You sure about that? Because if she crashes, everyone's going to know she's your ex-wife. Small town, man. Her mess becomes your mess. She made her choice. But after I hung up, I kept scrolling. Found posts about her amazing friends who were supporting her journey. Monica and Sienna featured prominently, always in the background of Clarissa's success photos, always dressed to the nines, always smiling. And then I found something else. A post from Monica's account, tagged at Clarissa's house from just last night. Girls' night with my bestie. She's teaching me all her success secrets. Blessed Jiao friendship goals. Living your best lives. The photo showed Monica and Clarissa on my deck, her deck, with a third person. A man, tall, polished, expensive suit. His arm was around Clarissa's waist. The caption didn't mention him, but the comments did. Who's the hottie? Clarissa, you're glowing. New man? Get it, girl. I closed the browser, told myself I didn't care. She was single. So was I. She could date whoever she wanted. But something about that photo bothered me. The way he held her, possessive and casual at once. The way Monica smiled at the camera, like she knew a secret. The way Clarissa leaned into him, the same way she used to lean into me, back when things were good. I went to bed but didn't sleep. Kept thinking about that man, that smile, that house full of strangers living the life I'd built. 8 months after the divorce, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer. Ethan? It's Phil Lester. We met at Mike's poker game last year. Phil. The private investigator, retired cop, looked like he'd been carved from granite and sarcasm. I remember. What can I do for you? It's more what I can do for you. You got a minute to meet? I've got information about your ex-wife. Thought you might want to hear it. I'm not paying you to spy on her. I'm not asking you to. This is a courtesy call. Meet me at Rosie's Diner in an hour. Coffee's on me. He hung up, before I could say no. Rosie's Diner was the kind of place that still served coffee in chipped mugs and pie that tasted like someone's grandmother made it. Phil was already there, sitting in a back booth, looking exactly like a man who'd seen too much and stopped being surprised by any of it. "Thanks for coming," he said, as I slid into the seat across from him. "Want pie? The apple's good." "Just coffee. What's this about?" He pushed a manila folder across the table. "Your ex-wife hired me 3 weeks ago. Wanted me to find you." I opened the folder. Photos. Me at work sites, at the hardware store, at my apartment. Me living my quiet, boring life. "She's looking for you," Phil said. "Says she wants to talk. Reconcile, maybe." Reconcile. The word tasted bitter. She's got a boyfriend. Had a boyfriend. Trent Riker. Business consultant, which means professional scammer. He's been helping her invest her money, by which I mean he's been helping himself to her money. Phil sipped his coffee. They broke up 2 weeks ago. She caught him in bed with Sienna. I should have felt satisfaction, vindication. Instead, I just felt tired. So she wants me back because her rebound didn't work out? She wants you back because she's broke. The house is in foreclosure. The business failed. Turns out nobody wants lifestyle advice from someone whose life is falling apart. The bank's coming for her. She's got maybe 2 months before she loses everything. I stared at the photos. My ex-wife, the woman who'd thrown away our marriage for money and status, was now broke and desperate. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Because she asked me to set up a meeting, and because I've been doing this job for 30 years, and I know when someone's being set up. She doesn't want to reconcile, Ethan. She wants your help, your money, your stability, and when she's done using you, she'll throw you away again." He leaned back. "You seem like a decent guy. Decent guys finish last, but they don't have to be stupid about it." "I'm not giving her anything." "Good. But she's going to come looking. Just wanted you to be prepared." He stood up, dropped a 20 on the table. "Coffee's on me. Pie too if you change your mind." He left. I sat there, staring at photos of my own life, taken by a stranger, paid for by the woman who'd promised to love me forever and couldn't even make it 12 years. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Ethan, it's Clarissa. We need to talk. Please. I made a mistake." I deleted it. Then I opened my browser and started searching. Trent Riker, Monica, Sienna. If I was going to be dragged back into Clarissa's mess, I was going to know exactly what kind of mess it was. And what I found made me smile for the first time in months. Because Clarissa wasn't the only one who'd made mistakes. Her new friends had made plenty of their own. And unlike my ex-wife, I knew how to build things. I also knew how to tear them down. The house, my house, the one I'd spent years fixing up, was foreclosed on a Tuesday morning. I know because Mrs. Dorsey called me at 7 a.m. to tell me about it. "Ethan, you won't believe what's happening. There are bank people and a moving truck, and Clarissa is screaming at everyone. It's quite a scene." I was at a work site, framing a custom deck for a client in Cape Elizabeth. "Thanks for letting me know, Mrs. Dorsey." "Aren't you going to come?" "She's your wife." "Ex-wife. And no." I hung up and went back to work. But I couldn't focus. Kept seeing that house in my mind, the one I'd renovated room by room, the one Clarissa had gutted and redesigned and mortgaged into oblivion. Some petty part of me wanted to drive over there, watch her lose everything the way I'd lost everything. The better part of me knew that would make me just as bad as her. I compromised. I called Phil. "You here?" he asked. "Mrs. Dorsey called." "Of course she did. Your ex-wife is having a full meltdown. The bank's taking the house, and they just repossessed her Tesla, right in front of everyone. Half the neighborhood's watching." "Where's she going to go?" "Her parents, probably. They've got that place in Cumberland. Old money, cold people. They never approved of her marrying you, and they definitely don't approve of her burning through her inheritance." He paused. "She's been calling you?" "Yeah." I don't answer. "Smart. She's desperate, and desperate people do stupid things. Speaking of which, you should know, Trent's been making noise, says Clarissa owes him money. Investment capital he put into her business. He's scamming her. Obviously. But he's got a friend, Rick, who does collections. Not the legal kind. Clarissa's got bigger problems than just being broke. I should have felt sorry for her. Should have felt something other than this cold satisfaction. But I'd spent 12 years being the good guy, the responsible one, the man who fixed things. Where had it gotten me? Divorced, alone, watching my ex-wife implode from a distance. Keep me posted, I said. Will do. And Ethan, be careful. When people like Clarissa fall, they try to grab onto anyone nearby. Don't let her drag you down with her. 2 weeks later, I saw her for the first time since I'd signed the divorce papers. I was at the main mall buying work boots. She was behind the counter at a clothing store, wearing a name tag and a forced smile. Our eyes met. Hers widened. Mine didn't. I walked over. Clarissa. Ethan. Her voice was small. She looked different, thinner, tired, older. The designer clothes were gone, replaced by the store's uniform. Her hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, no makeup, no jewelry. I didn't know you shopped here. I don't usually. Needed boots. I gestured at the store. This is new. Yeah, I needed a job. After everything. She trailed off, looking around nervously. Can we talk? Maybe grab coffee? I don't think that's a good idea. Please, 5 minutes. I just want to explain. Against my better judgment, I said, Okay, 5 minutes. We sat in the mall food court, surrounded by teenagers and tired parents, and the smell of pretzels. Clarissa held her coffee cup like it was keeping her warm, even though it was June. I'm sorry, she said. For everything. The divorce, the way I treated you, all of it. I was stupid and selfish, and I threw away the best thing in my life. I waited. There was more coming. There was always more. I'm living with my parents. They hate me. My mom tells me every day what a disappointment I am. Dad won't even look at me. She laughed, bitter. Monica and Sienna won't return my calls. Trent's threatening me. I lost everything, Ethan. Everything. You made your choices. I know I did. But I'm asking you, begging you, please, can we try again? I'll be different. I'll be the person you married. The person I married wouldn't have divorced me the second she got money. The person I married wouldn't have gutted our home and thrown parties while I was gone. The person I married wouldn't be sitting here asking me to save her because her backup plans fell through. Her face crumpled. That's not fair. No, what's not fair is you spending 12 years with me, then throwing me away like garbage the moment you didn't need me anymore. What's not fair is you burning through $2 million in less than a year while I was working construction to pay off debts from our marriage. What's not fair is you only wanting me back now that you're broke. I loved you, she whispered. Past tense? She didn't answer. I stood up. Good luck, Clarissa. I hope you figure things out. But you're going to have to do it without me. Ethan, wait! But I was already walking away. Behind me, I heard her crying, heard people staring, heard someone whisper, Isn't that the girl from that video? What video? I found out that night. Mike sent me a link with the message, Your ex-wife's famous. The video was from a mall security camera, posted to some drama account with millions of followers. It showed Clarissa getting into a physical fight with Sienna in what looked like a parking garage, screaming, hair pulling, the whole thing. The caption, When your bestie steals your man, T is scalding. The video had 3 million views. I watched it twice, saw Clarissa, desperate and furious, attacking someone who'd pretended to be her friend. Saw Sienna laughing, filming on her phone even as Clarissa grabbed her hair. Saw security pulling them apart. The comments were brutal. Trash, fighting over trash. This is what happens when you marry for money and it runs out. I know her. She's that girl who divorced her husband after her grandmother died. Karma's real. Someone had dug up her whole story. The inheritance, the divorce, the failed business, her entire life laid out for millions of strangers to judge. And I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no pity. Just a cold, empty nothing where my feelings for her used to be. My phone rang. Phil. You see the video? He asked. Yeah. Gets better. Trent's friend Rick cornered her in that same parking garage yesterday. Threatened her in front of her co-workers. She owes Trent 50 grand, apparently. Investment money. Rick gave her 2 weeks to pay or things get ugly. She doesn't have 50 grand. She doesn't have $50. I know. You know. Rick doesn't care. He's going to make an example of her. Phil paused. Unless someone steps in. Not my problem. Ethan, I know you're angry. You have every right to be. But if something happens to her, then she should have thought about that before she got involved with scammers and con artists. She made her bed. She can lie in it. I hung up, turned off my phone, went to bed, but I didn't sleep. Kept seeing that video. Kept seeing Clarissa, desperate and broken, fighting someone who used to be her friend. Kept hearing her voice in the food court. I lost everything. Good, I thought. Now she knows how it feels. But even as I thought it, I knew I was lying to myself. Because the truth was, I didn't want her to know how it felt. I wanted her to feel worse. I wanted her to hurt the way I'd hurt, lose the way I'd lost, suffer the way I'd suffered. I wanted revenge. And for the first time since she'd served me those divorce papers, I started planning how to get it. I hired Phil officially the next morning. $5,000, half of what Clarissa used to charge for her consulting services, to dig up everything on Trent, Monica, Sienna, and Rick. You sure about this? Phil asked. Once you start down this road, it's hard to stop. I'm sure. What's the end game? I want to know who I'm dealing with. That's all. He gave me a look that said he didn't believe me. I'll have something for you in a week. He had something in 3 days. We met at his office, a converted warehouse space that smelled like coffee and old paper. He spread files across his desk like he was dealing cards. Trent Riker, he said, tapping the first file. Real name Trevor Richards. He's got warrants in 2 states for fraud. Changes his name, moves to a new city, finds wealthy women, scams them, disappears. Your ex-wife was his 3rd victim in Maine alone. How much did he take her for? $250,000, give or take. He convinced her to invest in his consulting firm. The firm doesn't exist. The money went straight into his pocket. Phil opened another file. Monica Chen? Yeah, I know you said no Chen, but that's her real name. Trust fund kid, family money from tech. She's been enabling Clarissa's spending because she wanted to watch her fail. There's a whole group chat, I've got screenshots, where she and Sienna placed bets on how long Clarissa would last. They were betting on her? $500. Monica bet 6 months. Sienna bet a year. Monica won. He slid the screenshots across the desk. I read them, feeling sick. Monica. She just bought a 3rd car. This is amazing. Sienna. How long until she's broke? I give her 8 months. Monica. 6. She's stupider than she looks. Sienna. Bet? Monica. You're on. They were never her friends, I said. No, they were vultures. And speaking of vultures. Phil opened the 3rd file. Sienna Martinez, wannabe influencer, bought followers, fake sponsors. She slept with Trent specifically to hurt Clarissa. It's all in the messages. She wanted to take her down a peg. Her words. I stared at the files, at the evidence of betrayal, of calculated cruelty, of people who'd pretended to care about Clarissa while actively destroying her. And Rick? I asked. Rick Dalton, ex-military, dishonorable discharge, works as muscle for hire. He's been threatening Clarissa because Trent told him she owes money. But here's the thing. Trent doesn't own the debt. He made it up. He's using Rick to scare her into paying him more money. Can we prove that? I've got recordings. Rick's not smart. He talks. A lot. I've got him on tape admitting Trent made up the debt. Phil leaned back. So what do you want to do with all this? I looked at the files, at the evidence of everything that had destroyed my ex-wife's life. She'd made bad choices, yes, but these people had actively, deliberately ruined her, for money, for entertainment, for nothing. I want to destroy them, I said. Phil smiled. Now we're talking, but we do this smart, legal, no violence, no threats, nothing that comes back on you. We use what they gave us, their own stupidity, and we burn them with it. How? He pulled out another file. This one was thicker. I've been working on a plan. Want to hear it? I did, and by the time he was done explaining, I was smiling too. The plan was simple. Expose them, all of them. Use their own words, their own actions, their own arrogance against them. First target, Trent. Phil had tracked him to a bar in Portland, one of those upscale places where everything costs too much, and everyone's pretending to be richer than they are. Trent was there 3 nights a week, hunting for his next victim. I walked in on a Thursday night wearing my best clothes, which still weren't great, but good enough. Found him at the bar talking to a woman who looked interested and wealthy. I sat down next to him. Trevor Richards. He turned, didn't recognize me. I think you've got the wrong guy. No, I've got exactly the right guy. Warrants in New Hampshire and Vermont. Fraud. You scammed my ex-wife out of $250,000. The woman he'd been talking to looked between us. Is this true? He's crazy, Trent said. I don't know what he's talking about. I pulled out my phone, showed her Phil's file, the warrants, the evidence. His real name is Trevor Richards. He's a con man. He was probably about to ask you to invest in his business, right? Her face went pale. How did you? Because that's what he does. He finds wealthy women, charms them, takes their money, disappears. I looked at Trent. But he's not going to disappear this time. Trent stood up. You need to leave now. Or what? You'll call your friend Rick, the one who's been threatening my ex-wife over a fake debt? I smiled. Yeah, I know about that too. I know about all of it. And so do the police. I filed a report this morning. They're very interested in talking to you. That was a lie. I hadn't filed anything yet, but Trent didn't know that. His face went white. You're bluffing. Am I? Want to find out? I stood up. Stay away from Clarissa. Stay away from Maine. If I see you again, if I hear you're scamming anyone else, I'll make sure every police department in New England has your file. Understand? He understood. I could see it in his eyes. He was a coward, like all con men. Brave when he was in control, terrified the moment someone fought back. I walked out of that bar feeling better than I had in months. Next target, Monica. This one was trickier. Monica hadn't broken any laws. She was just a terrible person. But Phil had given me something better than evidence of crimes. He'd given me evidence of her real character. I waited until she posted on social media, one of those inspirational posts about friendship and loyalty and being there for people. Then I commented, publicly, with screenshots of her group chat with Sienna, the one where they bet on Clarissa's failure. The post went viral. Within hours, Monica's comments were flooded with people calling her out. Her follower count dropped. Her friends, her real friends, the ones who didn't know about the bet, started distancing themselves. She tried to delete everything, tried to claim the screenshots were fake. But Phil had made sure to send them to multiple people, to archive them, to make them permanent. Monica's reputation was destroyed in less than a day. Third target, Sienna. Sienna was easier. She'd built her entire online presence on being authentic, relatable, real. Phil had evidence that she'd bought followers, faked sponsorships, and lied about her lifestyle. I sent the evidence to every brand she claimed to work with, to every follower who'd believed her lies, to everyone who'd ever trusted her. Her accounts were suspended within a week. Her career was over. And Rick? Rick got a visit from Phil's ex-cop friends. Nothing illegal, just a friendly conversation about how threatening people over fake debts was a crime, and how they'd be watching him very carefully from now on. Rick decided to leave town. In 3 weeks, I'd dismantled the lives of everyone who'd hurt Clarissa. Not because I loved her, I didn't, not anymore, but because they'd hurt her for fun, for profit, for entertainment, and because I could. Phil called me when it was done. You feel better? Not really. That's because revenge doesn't work the way people think it does. It doesn't fix anything, it just makes you even. Even is good enough, is it? Because you've still got one more person to deal with. Who? Clarissa. She's the one who started all this. She's the one who divorced you, who threw you away, who chose money over you. You've punished everyone around her, but you haven't punished her. He was right, and I knew exactly how to do it. I found Clarissa working her shift at the mall. She looked worse than the last time I'd seen her. Thinner, paler, like she wasn't sleeping. She saw me coming, and her face went through a dozen emotions in a second. Hope, fear, shame, anger. "Ethan," she said, "what are you doing here? We need to talk. When's your break?" "I don't get one for another hour. Now, Clarissa." Something in my voice made her flinch. She told her manager she was taking a break, followed me out to the parking lot. We sat in my truck, the same truck I'd been driving for 10 years, the one she'd always hated because it wasn't fancy enough. "I heard about Trent," she said, "and Monica, and Sienna. That was you, wasn't it?" "Yeah." "Why?" "Because they hurt you, and because I could." I turned to look at her. "But I'm not here to talk about them. I'm here to talk about you." "Me?" "You destroyed our marriage for money. You threw away 12 years because you thought being rich would make you happy. You humiliated me, dismissed me, treated me like I was nothing. And then, when it all fell apart, you came crawling back. Not because you loved me, not because you missed me, but because you needed me." "That's not... Don't lie. Not now. We're past that." I pulled out a folder, the one Phil had given me. "I know everything, Clarissa. I know about the bet Monica and Sienna made. I know about Trent's scam. I know about Rick. I know you're broke, living with parents who hate you, working a job you despise. I know all of it." She stared at the folder. "What do you want? Money? Because I don't have any." "I don't want your money. I want you to understand something. Everything that happened to you, the foreclosure, the betrayals, the humiliation, you did that to yourself. Not me, not bad luck. You. You chose money over love. You chose status over loyalty. You chose people who didn't care about you over the person who did. And now you're living with the consequences." Tears ran down her face. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Can't we? No, we can't. Because sorry doesn't fix 12 years. Sorry doesn't undo the divorce. Sorry doesn't rebuild what you destroyed. I opened the truck door. "I'm done, Clarissa. I'm done being angry, done being hurt, done caring. You're not my problem anymore. You're not my wife anymore. You're just someone I used to know who made terrible choices. Please don't leave me like this. You left me first, remember?" I got out of the truck. She followed, grabbing my arm. "Ethan, wait. I love you. I never stopped loving you." I looked at her hand on my arm, looked at her face, desperate and broken. Looked at the woman I'd spent 12 years with, the one I'd planned a future with, the one who'd thrown it all away. "No, you don't," I said quietly. "You love the idea of me, the safety, the stability, the man who fixed things. But you don't love me. If you did, you never would have left." I pulled my arm free and walked away. Behind me, I heard her crying, heard her calling my name, heard her break down in the middle of a parking lot while strangers stared. And I didn't look back. That should have been the end of it. Should have been closure. But that night, Mike called. "You need to see this." Another video. This one showed me and Clarissa in the parking lot. Someone had filmed the whole thing, posted it with the caption, "Cold-hearted ex-husband destroys his broke ex-wife. This is brutal." The video had 1 million views. The comments were split. Half of them called me heartless. The other half said Clarissa deserved it. But they all agreed on one thing: it was brutal. I watched it once, saw myself, cold and controlled, saying things designed to hurt. Saw Clarissa, broken and desperate, begging for another chance. Saw the moment I walked away and the moment she fell apart. I looked like the villain. And maybe I was. "You okay?" Mike asked. "Yeah." "You sure? Because that video's rough, man. People are going to have opinions. Let them. I don't care." But I did care. Not about what strangers thought. About what I'd become. I'd set out to punish the people who'd hurt Clarissa. But in the end, I'd hurt her worse than any of them. And I'd done it on purpose. The next day, Mrs. Dorsey called. "Ethan, I think you should know, Clarissa tried to hurt herself last night. Her mother found her. She's okay, but she's in the hospital." My blood went cold. "What?" "She took pills. Not enough to... Well, she's alive. But her mother said she left a note. About you. About how she'd ruined everything and couldn't live with it." I hung up, drove to the hospital, found Clarissa's mother in the waiting room, looking older than I remembered. "You have some nerve showing up here," she said. "Is she okay?" "Physically? Yes. Mentally? No. Thanks to you." "I didn't. You destroyed her. You and your revenge. You couldn't just leave her alone. You had to twist the knife." She stood up, got in my face. "My daughter made mistakes. But she didn't deserve this. She didn't deserve to be humiliated and abandoned and driven to..." "She divorced me," I said. "She threw away our marriage for money. She humiliated me first." "So you decided to get even? To make her suffer? Congratulations, Ethan. You won. My daughter's in a hospital bed because of you. I hope it was worth it." She walked away. Left me standing there, feeling like the villain everyone said I was. I went to Clarissa's room. She was asleep, hooked up to monitors, looking small and fragile in the hospital bed. A nurse told me visiting hours were over, but I stood there anyway, watching her breathe, thinking about everything that had led us here. 12 years of marriage, 1 year of divorce, and now this. I left the hospital and drove to Phil's office. "I need you to do something," I said. "What?" "I need you to fix this." "Fix what?" "Everything. I need you to help Clarissa. Get her out of debt, find her a real job, help her get back on her feet. I don't care what it costs, just fix it." Phil studied me. "Why? I thought you were done with her." "I am. But I didn't want this. I wanted her to understand what she did. I wanted her to hurt the way I hurt. I didn't want her to..." I couldn't finish the sentence. "You wanted revenge. You got it. Now you feel guilty." "Yeah. That's called being human. The question is, what are you going to do about it?" I thought about it. Thought about Clarissa in that hospital bed. Thought about the video, the comments, the way I'd walked away while she broke down. Thought about the man I'd become in pursuit of revenge. "I'm going to make it right," I said. "How?" "I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out." Phil nodded. "Okay, I'll help. But Ethan, next time you want revenge, remember this moment. Remember how it feels, because revenge always costs more than you think." He was right, and I was about to pay the price. 3 days after Clarissa's hospitalization, I got a call from an unknown number. "Ethan Ward?" A woman's voice, professional, cold. "Yeah." "This is Detective Sarah Mitchell, Portland PD. I need you to come down to the station. We have some questions about your ex-wife's situation." My stomach dropped. "What kind of questions?" "The kind best answered in person. Can you be here in an hour?" I could. The police station smelled like coffee and stress. Detective Mitchell was in her 40s, sharp-eyed, the kind of cop who didn't miss anything. She led me to an interview room, offered me coffee I didn't want. Am I under arrest? I asked. No, but Clarissa Ward filed a complaint. Says you've been harassing her, threatening her. She says you're responsible for her financial collapse and her suicide attempt. That's not... I've seen the videos, Mr. Ward. Both of them. The parking lot confrontation and the one of you walking away while she had a breakdown. They don't paint a flattering picture. I didn't threaten her. I didn't harass her. I told her the truth about what she did to our marriage. And then you systematically destroyed the lives of everyone around her. Her ex-boyfriend, her friends, even the man who was threatening her. That's quite a campaign of revenge. They deserved it. They scammed her, betrayed her. Maybe. But revenge isn't legal just because it feels justified. She leaned forward. Here's what I think happened. Your wife divorced you. You were angry. You waited, watched her fail, then swooped in to make everything worse. You wanted her to suffer. And when she tried to kill herself, you realized you'd gone too far. That's not, isn't it? She slid a folder across the table. We've been investigating Trent Riker for months. We were building a case. Then you confronted him in a bar, threatened him, and he disappeared. We've been investigating Monica Chen's financial activities. Then you exposed her, and she lawyered up. You didn't help these investigations, Mr. Ward. You complicated them. I stared at the folder. I didn't know. No, you were too busy playing vigilante, and now your ex-wife is in a psychiatric ward and we're trying to figure out if you're criminally responsible. Am I? She leaned back. Technically, no. You didn't break any laws. You didn't threaten anyone, didn't touch anyone, didn't do anything we can arrest you for. But morally, that's between you and your conscience. She stood up. You're free to go. But Mr. Ward, stay away from Clarissa. If you contact her, if you go near her, if you so much as look at her wrong, I will find a reason to arrest you. Understand? I understood. I went to Phil's office. He was waiting with Mike, both of them looking grim. The cops talked to you? Phil asked. Yeah, they can't arrest me, but they want me to stay away from Clarissa. Good, you should. I can't, not until I fix this. Ethan. Mike grabbed my arm. You can't fix this. You can't undo what happened. The best thing you can do is walk away. I tried that. It didn't work. Because you didn't really walk away. You stuck around, you plotted revenge, you destroyed everyone in her life. That's not walking away. That's obsession. He was right. I knew he was right. But I couldn't let it end like this. Couldn't let Clarissa think I'd driven her to this. Couldn't let her parents, the cops, the world think I was the villain, even though maybe I was. I need to talk to her, I said. One last time. To explain. The detective said, I know what she said, but I can't leave things like this. I need Clarissa to understand that I didn't want this, that I'm sorry. Phil and Mike exchanged looks. If you do this, Phil said, you do it smart. No confrontation, no drama. You write her a letter, I'll deliver it. You stay far away. A letter won't... It's a letter or nothing. Choose. I chose the letter. I spent 3 hours writing it, crossed out a dozen versions, too angry, too defensive, too self-pitying. Finally, I wrote the truth. Clarissa, I'm sorry, for everything, for the parking lot, for the revenge, for hurting you when you were already down. I told myself I was getting justice, but really I was just getting even. And it wasn't worth it. You hurt me when you left. You hurt me badly. But I hurt you worse. I became the villain in our story, and I hate myself for it. I've arranged for Phil Lester to help you. He'll get you out of debt, help you find a real job, get you back on your feet. I don't want your thanks. I don't want your forgiveness. I just want you to be okay. I loved you for 12 years. I can't just stop caring because you made mistakes. But I also can't be in your life anymore. We're toxic together. We bring out the worst in each other. I hope you find happiness. Real happiness. Not the kind that comes from money or status or other people's approval. the kind that comes from being at peace with yourself. I hope someday you can forgive me. I'm not sure I'll ever forgive myself. Goodbye, Clarissa. Ethan, Phil delivered the letter, called me an hour later. She read it, cried, asked if she could see you. What did you tell her? I told her no, that you were trying to move on and she should too. He paused. She agreed. Said to tell you she's sorry too, and that she hopes you find someone who deserves you. I hung up, sat in my apartment, surrounded by the life I'd built after the divorce. Small, simple, honest. Everything my marriage hadn't been. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Thank you for everything. I'm sorry I couldn't be the person you needed. I hope you're happy. C. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I deleted it. 6 months later, I ran into Mrs. Dorsey at the hardware store again. Ethan, how are you? I haven't seen you in ages. I'm good. How's the neighborhood? Oh, you know. Same as always. Although I heard about Clarissa, she's doing well. Got a job at some non-profit, helping people with financial literacy. Ironic, right? But she seems happy. Her mother says she's in therapy, working on herself. It's nice to see. Yeah, it is. And you? Anyone special in your life? Not yet, but I'm okay. And I was. Not happy exactly. Not healed, but okay. I'd learned something from the whole mess with Clarissa. Revenge doesn't fix anything. It doesn't make you feel better. It doesn't undo the hurt. It just makes you even. And even isn't enough. I went home to my apartment, to my quiet life, to my work, and my friends, and my future. A future without Clarissa, without revenge, without anger. A future where I was just me. Flawed, human, trying to be better. And maybe that was enough. Maybe that had to be enough. Because in the end, the only person I could fix was myself.